Okay, when we finished last time, we did the problem statement. And again, now we need to do the flow chart. And you can see I've already pre-done some of the pros because the rest of this you should be able to do. Um, so we start out with all the constants. Forget this. That's from an old thing. Anytime you see female in anything on this, let it go. There shouldn't be any more. That should be it. But we'll see. Maybe with code, I'll still have it in there. So these are all the constants that we have. Then we had this one input. And again, when you do input, you want to make sure that you hit the more and you put in your question. And the question has to start in quotes. And then we have, let me move this over a little bit. Right, and then we have all our outputs. So you should be doing it the same way. I know I do things ahead of time, but you should do this also. When you're ready to do your solution, you should do all of your constants, your input, all your math, and all your output before starting your decision. Because we're going to use the build and test methodology on that. And that is your fastest, most accurate way to do a problem. And as I mentioned in the last video, students refuse to do it. And then it takes them forever. And then they complain about how long it takes them. And I'm thinking, if you just did the build and test, if you did bottom up and build and test, you would never have those issues. So let's go ahead and do this. After the input, we have to make a decision. And that decision is going to be, so I double click on that and I grab the two things I'm comparing and how I'm comparing them. I'll copy that and I paste that in here. And that's my first decision. If that's true, then I have this assignment. And that is I have disk grade on the left, Control C, Control V, and then high consume rate on the right, Control C, Control V. Okay, I have now one path. So if I test this with something over 30, then I can see if this works. So let's go ahead and test it and see if it's working, because if it's over 30, they get 60% off, which means that the hot dog should be $4 a piece. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button. I'm going to do 100 hot dogs, so the math is easy. That's obviously over 30. They've eaten 100 hot dogs. We charge them $6 each, and we go, wait a minute, that's not right. That's not right. They get 60% off, and 60% is $6. So it's just showing me here how much I should have taken off the 10, not how much the actual hot dog costs. So in this case, we'd be overcharging the person by $200 if they ate 100 hot dogs. Good joke. I would love to see that in 10 minutes. So we have a problem with our math, and that's because the 60% is the discount, and all we're doing is figuring out what 60% of it is. So one thing we can do is we can add another piece of math before we figure out what the hot dog rate is. So let's go ahead and do another assignment. And the math we're going to say is that the disk rate, ooh, look at me typing. All right, so the disk rate, Control C, we never type, Control V, equals to 1 minus the disk rate. So what did we do there? Remember, the disk rate is 60%, but that is not the rate we want to charge. Is how much we want actually to take off $1 pretty much. So if you think about that. So we have to subtract it. So it ends up being 0.40. And then when we do the next math, it'll be a $4 hot dog, not a $6 hot dog. All right, think about that for a while before it sinks in. Let's see if we end up with our $4 hot dog, because we should be taking 60% off of $10. So we take that's 6 off the $10, so it should be a $4 hot dog. So let's go ahead and run it again. How many hot dogs did you eat? We ate 100. And $4. So you can see that now my math is absolutely correct. And that's why you want to do the math with a calculator first. Of course, if I looked at my practice data, that would have also showed me that this solution was incorrect. So now that I did that, now I have to come over here and fix my problem statement. So I have to do above this rate per dog, I'm going to say the disk rate is going to be equal to 1 minus disk rate. Now I could have came over here and said the hot dog rate equals 1 minus the disk rate. I could have done this if I wanted to and not had this math. The problem is, you know from the very beginning, this is complex math. I'm subtracting and multiplying in the same thing. That makes this harder to maintain, harder to understand, and harder to debug. So we don't do that. Instead, we make our math very simple. Simple, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. We do this math first. A person can say, what are they doing? Oh, I see what they're doing. But if you had it mixed in here, you're doing two separate things in one calculation, and that's incorrect. All right, so let's go ahead and do the rest. And this is where the build and test methodology really gives you a good, nice bang for your buck. Let me make this a little bit smaller so I can bring this up. So I've done this first one, and this one works absolutely perfect. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to go ahead and hit the false here, because remember, this is else if. So it's else if. I'm going to say, wait a minute, this works. So I'm going to copy those two and paste it into the false side. Now all I have to do is change two values, and we're done. So the first one I'm going to do is this decision. This is not the high. Remember, this is the mid. So I'm going to go ahead and copy mid. Control C. Oops, that's the rate. This one's right. Control C. Control V. And then we're going to be using this rate. Control C. Control V. So that's the mid one. The mid one is 20. So what are we going to do for this one? No, wait a minute. Yeah. So it's got to be over 20. So let's do 21 hot dogs. So I eat 21 hot dogs. How much should it cost per hot dog? So you can see that it's 40% off. So this one should be a $6 dog. And it is. And 21 times 6, 126. Excellent. So we can see that that one works also. And since that one worked, I'm going to copy this, paste it over here, and then just change this one to what would I need it to be. So again, this one here, number of hot dogs is the same. All I have to do is get low consume cutoff. Control C, Control V. And then for this one, all I need is the low consume rate. Control C, Control V. And before I test it, we have this disk rate equals 0. So if I copy this and paste this over here, and I just need to change this to 0, I can type that in. Actually, we left it off. It's the same as disk rate equals 0 because by default, Visual Logic automatically puts 0 in things that don't exist. That's not true in JavaScript, so let's just go ahead and make sure that we do this correctly. All right, so now I have to make two tests. So next one is 10, so let's do 11. 11 hot dogs, $8, so it's 20% off, and $88. And the last one, we'll do one more last time, make sure that we get 10. So if we do 10 hot dogs, then we're eating this 10, and $10 charge because it's all hot dogs over. If you eat over more than 10, then it would be, and then the total charge is 100. So perfect. Our flow chart is absolutely correct, and I hope that I'm making a believer in you that the build and test methodology is your fastest way. Because suppose I had an error somewhere down here, I copy and pasted cutoff instead of consume rate. I would find out as soon as I built that and tested it, and I would know where my problem is. It's the last thing I built. And that's why you want to use the build and test methodology. And I can attest to that because when I did this the first time, that's exactly what I did. I confused myself and put cutoff down here and rate up there, and the thing didn't work. So I knew that this was the problem, and I went back and fixed it. But if you build a whole mess and then hit the play button and hope for the best, you're going to spend the rest of your evening and maybe the next couple of days trying to find your errors, and it'd be very frustrating. All right, so let's go ahead and save this. Click View, Create Flowchart Meta File. We're doing this for assignment 4, lessons. There's the dormitory one we did before, and this is going to be our hot dog. Flow. And we don't have to do anything else except that. And let's go ahead and save our Notepad++ now that we know that's correct because we tested it. So if I save it, that's assignment 4, lessons, and then this is going to be hot dog prob state. And again, I have to put .txt or this is going to be a pain in the neck trying to open it up. Your instructor, if you save it without the .txt and upload it, they don't know what you used to create that. So make sure you always add the .txt whenever you're using Notepad++. On to code.